like as far as reality check radio go, I would love to see how much they spent on signage.
Yeah.
Just signage. They had a very slick presentation. That costs money. So you talked earlier about how much money, we've had information about how much people were donating to them and their funding rounds and that sort of stuff. They burned through that money like it was going out of fashion.
Well, you know what it is? I'll tell you what it is. Those, I think it's 3 women from Voices for Fuckwits, incredibly good at fundraising, but it seems they had no one who was good at organising a media company. Because the decisions they were making, spending tens of thousands, let's be honest, on billboards and Newmarket and stuff, weren't the decisions they were making and weren't going to give them the kickback for them to then drive in hundreds of thousands of advertising. If you put $10,000 into marketing, you want to see a return on that. So my premise, right, I suggest that they have had some very clever, very slick, very smart fundraisers and a bunch of fucking morons when it comes to how to run a media company. That's what I would guess.
Is their website up for sale yet?
I don't know. Why do you want to buy it? We can take the take the speech marks off.
We can have a sneaky rebrand.
So this is where it started today for me. This is a thumbnail. This was on their video. And I just thought how ironic that on the video, and I'll show you a couple of parts from the video as we go through, one of the images they showed was people on a beach holding up "Rest in Peace, Mainstream Media." I just thought that was kind of ironic how mainstream media is still standing. And the irony went on. There's a plane pulling a thing behind it. Reality Check Radio, RIP woke media. Because, Chewy, if you go woke, you go broke. So that's what they believe. So do we now have to assume that Reality Check Radio is woke? We've been asking this all what is woke? What does it mean to be woke? Well, they've gone broke. Maybe it's them. Maybe that's what it means. I have a few more for you. Here we go. Geez, the whole woke, go broke, and all the RIP mainstream media stuff isn't aged that well, has it? RCRNZ. And that's where I made a mistake here, but we read it's $85,000 a week to burn through $5 million. That doesn't even include any new money they've got put in by their supporters. And Chewy, I've already pointed this out, but I'll say it again because this might be a clip tomorrow. If BHN had the funding that they had, we could run for 10 years with 4 full-time staff. That's what we could do with that money. And then another one here. Part of their grift video to support the $85,000 a week habit, made a mistake, is revealing they got 350,000 people listening to RCR in 13 months. That's terrible. Those numbers are terrible. We get 500,000 unique viewers to just one of our platforms, one of our video platforms every 2 months. So to say we got 350,000 listeners in a year. Okay, so how many people live in New Zealand? 5 million. That means every single day you have the opportunity for 5 million people. And do 5 million the next day and 5 million the next day. So over 365 days, you've got the possibility of 5 million people times 365. And they've gone, guys, we reached 350,000 people. It's that, that again says to me that they've had fundraisers, but they haven't had media people. They've had people who could they've had broadcasters. That's different. Peter Williams is a broadcaster, but it seems they've had no one behind the scenes who knows media. And I'm not saying this like, the poor people. In fact, I'll be honest. I think the last time this came up about News Hub, I said, it's always sad when people lose their jobs. I found myself being a bit hypocritical today, and I'll mea culpa with that. I just didn't feel that sad about this group of people losing their jobs. And I, to be honest, I had to check myself because these people will still have families and they'll still have mortgages. And they'll still have that. But I guess I came back to how much harm this kind of rhetoric is doing this country. And that's what I kind of came back to. So yeah. What we'll do though, Chew, is we'll play a couple of bits from the video, and I know this might annoy some people, but because I don't listen to it. Right? I know we've done a piece on Chantal here from there and other bits and pieces, but I don't listen to it. But the 1 or 2 times I have tuned in to see what's going on, they seem to have been still talking about lockdowns, mandates, vaccines. Like honestly, what has it been? Like 9 years since that happened, That's what the converse, like each time I tuned in. So I just wanted to play a couple of minutes of this video and just give you a sense of the topics that both RCR think are important and some of their supporters, because there's some people in these videos as well. So unfortunately, I feel that Peter Williams has dirtified Central Otago a bit for us, walking around Queenstown there. But, you know, I guess he's allowed to be there.
Look at that. Look at that color grading.
It's a good video. No, this is it. So they can.
This is what I mean. They spend money.
Yeah.
They're quite happy to spend the money.
Yeah. No. The video was incredibly professional. So let's just have a look at a couple of minutes from this, and this is about what the people are actually fearful about.
Do you remember when places like this were all empty? It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, we were there 2 years ago. It's a lot fucking easier getting around than it was this weekend, trust me.
Was it when they locked us in our homes and closed businesses, all to defeat an invisible enemy? Well, the next enemy will be climate change, or your privacy, or censorship. And if RCR can't find the funding to get back on air and be the voice that holds our government to account, who will speak?
They think pretty fucking highly of them. So I guess if you're going to reach for the stars, we'll keep going.
Speak up for you. What media outlet will fight back on your behalf? Will you trust the legacy media to hold our government to account? Who is going to cover what is really going on in the world? Who will be your voice?
The issue I'm most worried about is censorship. I just want to live in a free and democratic society in which we're all able to speak our minds.
N-word on Call of Duty.
No, but this is what you find, and we talked about this just a few minutes ago, is that we're talking about this in a clip we did last night. It's going to come out tomorrow night about Brooke Van Velden, about how the right scare people into things. You know, I can't go to rugby anymore. It's not safe to go to rugby. Like that dude just said, I want to be able to speak my mind freely. Who can't do that? Who can't do that? Has anyone in New Zealand ever been stopped for speaking their mind freely? You know, this is the thing. There's this narrative that they've painted that everyone's bound up into this tight little ball that they're not allowed to do anything. And only groups like this in the platform can free those people where they're not bound up at all. You can say what you want when you want.
I love it. People on the whole ass platforms that they've created saying that they're being censored is hilarious to me.
Yeah. All right, there's a few more clips from here. Let's just go. This is some of the viewers' comments now as to what they deem important and what they're scared of.
The issues that I see right now are the CBDCs, the digital identity, and I see the freedom of choice, especially in medical.
Medical freedom, that's a biggie for me. Once they've taken that away from us, they have control over just about everything we do in our life.
15-minute cities. I'm concerned about gender ideology, indoctrination of our children and our schools and our homes.
If you want to see where New Zealand is going, just look at China today. Social credit system, 15-minute cities, like it's
they're being serious.
Digital currency.
No, they're being serious. This is what the fear is.
I think the biggest issue is loss of sovereignty. I think a lot of people are really unaware of what's happening globally in terms of the WEF and the influence that they may have.
Most people in New Zealand have no idea of what's going on in Europe at the moment. You've got millions of farmers basically being told to stop growing food. Our farmers here are the same. They're being driven.
That word basically, that's carrying a lot of water. A lot of water, basically being told. That carries a lot of water.
To a point where they can no longer provide food for us.
I think we all have a right to have this freedom of speech where we can actually say how we feel. We don't have to agree.
As you say, Chewy, while she's on a video on a platform saying what she wants to say, how she says.
I do not think it's healthy to agree with everything. We have to have diversity. And I think if we don't have that, then we've lost freedom.
So that's just that's all I was going to show. It goes on and on and on. And honestly, it's they hit every single conspiracy theory. It's WEF. It's 15-minute cities. It's they might have well said the sign of the beast, the mark of the beast. But they're not gonna come back. They're not going to come back because they're not going to be able to fundraise $85,000 per week to keep them on. So they're gone. Now, I was going to say as well, this is not us gloating, but since we've started, we've seen off Today FM and we've seen off RCR Anything else that you know that we've seen off, Chewy, and we're still going? Because I did a tweet today after. That's a sad one. I did a tweet today based on RCR said that basically says that's one down, one to go. People can read into that what they want, but there you go, one down, one to go. And look, it's probably also to do with they've misplayed their hand. They were writing this COVID grift to probably 12 months after it finished, and it's a bit like Chantel Baker, who had all that influence around COVID, and then once COVID disappeared, all of a sudden her 100,000 Facebook followers and stuff all sort of faded, and then she got taken off that, and then a lot of her, what is she doing now? Like, I'm not looking for a fight with her in particular, but it's like there was a moment where people, struck gold for their conspiracy theorists, and that's all gone, and these guys thought that would keep on rolling, and it hasn't. And then when you got to get your listener or your viewer up against somewhere like the platform, and let's be honest, up against somewhere like News Talk ZB or the Herald or these other places that are doing it, there's not the room for all of them, and some of them are going to start falling, and this is the first.
I just love that whole thing of like people going, I need something a bit more hardcore than News Talk ZB is fucking frightening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, can I just say as well, when people freak out about 15-minute cities, I find that intensely amusing.
Yeah.
Because they're equating 15-minute cities as in you can't travel more than 15 minutes away from your house, rather than just making it more livable to only have to travel 15 minutes from your house, which sounds fucking amazing.
They think there's going to be big borders about 7 minutes north of Dunedin and 7 minutes south of Dunedin, and and there'll be guns on the people or guns. For people who don't know, let's just make this clear. It's so that every amenity is within 15 minutes of where you live. That's a 15-minute city. Like, that sounds so terrible. Why? Because, as Chewy just said, they think it's like forcing us to, isolate in this area and not be allowed to move. It's not. It's like it's making them more livable. Let's all have somewhere to get our food from within 15 minutes of where we live. Our sports fields, our central post office. That would be a fantastic goal. Why not?